Hello, fellow humans, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Shell Elizabeth. If it's your first time here, welcome to the group. Don't forget to subscribe to see more stuff from me. So, I haven't been here for a couple of weeks. This week has just been terrible at work, but the week before this, we were on vacation, and vacation was amazing. Spent an entire week just at home getting stuff done, including a couple new pieces of furniture. Like, there's a table here now that wasn't there. There's a small bench over there that I'm gonna paint and make look all cute, so I'm excited about that. We bought a wood lathe, so Matt is learning how to turn wood, which is fantastic because that means that we can do custom wooden handles on my whips, floggers, etc. So super stoked about that. And I've gotten back into sewing finally. We had picked out quite a few patterns a little while ago because when I was younger, back in like high school, I used to make a lot of my own clothes. Mostly because I couldn't find clothes that fit me because I was so overweight. I couldn't find anything that fit me that I liked, and so I literally had to make my own clothes if I wanted anything to wear. Well, that's not really my problem anymore. I can buy clothes pretty easily at any store because I'm standard size now, but I do miss having that creative reason to work on and expressing myself through making my own clothes. And I was pretty good at it. Like, we used to do costumes too. That was actually really why I started learning how to sew, was because me and my friends in high school used to go cosplay at all the anime conventions, and I was the designated costume maker. So I had to teach myself how to draft patterns, how to use the machine, all that stuff. And because of that, I did learn really slowly, and the first few things I made were bad. But I'm much better now. I'm still not great, but I'm doing all right. But I thought, I've never really worked from patterns, like store-bought patterns before. For example, the first one I actually finished was this. I made these shorts. Now, the thing about the reason why I got this was because I have this blue fabric that I made into a skirt that I wear all the time. And I bought the same fabric in pink because I wanted to have like a matching thing. But I never knew what I wanted to do with it. I didn't feel like making another skirt, but I needed more shorts, and I've never sewn shorts before, so drafting pants patterns is really hard. That's one thing I was never good at. So I thought a pattern to make a pair of shorts would help me kind of learn that a little bit more. So these are them. Look at this fabric. Ignore my phone going off in the background. It's just pink with these little stars. It's kind of like a flannel material. And these shorts are so cute. I'll stand up so you can see them. You've got this little tie in the front, and then nice big pockets. So these are everything I wanted and more. I love these shorts. So I made these from the pattern. I was like, oh yeah, I can do this. I'm good at sewing. What do you got? And for Halloween, Matt has always wanted a really nice priest vestment to use as a costume that he could just wear every year. So he went out and bought this to make this guy with the buttons. Now, when we first got this, I was like, okay, it's like a jacket. It shouldn't be that hard, right? On vacation, I had to spend 2 nights in a row staying up until 7 a.m. sewing to get this thing done. And then I was so determined to get it done before Halloween, and then we didn't end up going anywhere on Halloween, so he didn't even wear it. But it's okay because now it's already set for next year. But there's no good way to show you this because it's taller than I am. But he picked out special buttons. They're metal, which he really likes. And then here's the collar. And the buttons all are functional. There's, I believe, 16 of them in here. The thing that I was particularly proud about with making this was all the finishing details. For example, the inside, it is lined. See how it's got... So the top half of it's all fully lined, but everywhere that the liner connects to the outside, I had to hand stitch that whole line with an invisible stitch. So that took forever. Almost all of the hems that show on the outside have tape, bias tape on them. That's one of the buttonholes, which are hand sewn because I don't have the buttonhole foot for my machine. So all the buttonholes are hand done. And then also the bottom of this vestment, it has a horsehair braid, this thing here, sewn in because it keeps it, it makes it stiffer right on the bottom so that the way the vestment drapes, it's like nice and flowing. It's not like sharp, creasy, and like sticks in. It like kind of floats out a little bit, and it has a really graceful silhouette. So this took me, a good 2.5 days. I mean, this was intense. And then it's even got like these huge cuffs I had to sew on. And I picked a special stitch. I don't know how it's going to show up here. Maybe if I move the... There we go. There's a special decorative stitch along the top of the cuffs. Yeah, it just... it's super extra. Like, this garment has a lot of love poured into it. And then the back has these pleats for the bottom to give it more volume. Yeah, this was definitely the hardest thing I've ever sewn, but it was a learning experience, and I learned a lot about outerwear, which is not an easy thing to sew by any means. So super proud of the way that came out. It fits him pretty well. Yeah, no complaints. Just do up a couple of the buttons so I can put it back down. Alright, now the next thing I started working on for sewing was I bought this. Matt also wants to get back into sewing, and he wanted to try something, so he thought a pair of pajama pants would be a nice, easy way to start. And since he has other projects, he hasn't touched that yet, so I also bought some fabric to make my brother a pair of pajama pants for his birthday coming up this month. And so I got this. It's just men's pajamas with pockets. And the fabric I found for him is this one, and it's adorable. It's these little foxes. Look how cute they are. Yeah, it's just like a standard pair of oversized men's pajama pants that have pockets. Like nice big pockets. Like, these pockets are ginormous. But I really liked this fabric, and I thought he would too, so I want to make him a pair of like super comfy pajamas. And the next project I have lined up is I need to hem these a little bit more because they're still, I picked them up. I like followed the pattern to a T and then like looked at them and I was like, these are crazy long, so I still have to rehem the bottom. And this is a pair of pajama pants I had made for myself quite a few months ago, but I've never really worn them because I didn't have any elastic when I was making them, so I just used a ribbon, and I don't like drawstring pants. I just find them uncomfortable. Like, they don't move with you, it just like cinches around one part. I don't like it. But look at this fabric. Oh, little cats. So all I need to do is take out the ribbon and sew in an elastic. So that's going to happen. I actually might leave the ribbon for aesthetic, but still put in the elastic for wear. Because I like the little things hanging down, but tying them is a nightmare. But anyway, that's what I've been up to in the world of crafts. I'm trying to get a bunch of sewing done because I really want to get back into whip making. I really want to start that bullwhip that I keep talking about. I want to make a nice, like, long, full-on bullwhip. I think it's going to be great. And I want to get back into it, too, because now that we have the lathe, I want to start doing some wood-handled bullwhips with the help of Matt. So I'm pretty stoked about that. We've got a few pieces of wood coming in right now for him to play with. He's got a project he's been working on that maybe when it's done he'll allow me to show you. But it looks super nice. It's made out of a piece of mahogany that I had left over from when I took woodshop in college, which I totally did just because I wanted someone to teach me how to use power tools. Like, I wanted to know how to use stuff in a workshop in my life, and so with the extra credit I had in college, I was like, you know what? I'm going to take this class. 100% worth it. I learned so crazy much from that class, and I built a table, a box, picture frames. Was that it? I think that was it. The table was intense though. Like, it's actually going to end up over here eventually because we're going to tear it apart for pieces, but I'll try to at least snap a picture to show you guys before we do, if not video it. But it's like this table's so extra. So back at the time, I was still really into D&D, which I love it. I just don't have anyone to play it with. Sad face. But at the time, I was playing with people still, playing a lot of D&D, and so I thought it'd be really cool to make a D&D specific table. And so I drafted this design for this table. It's like a really long hexagonal top, so the corners are cut off because it had a top layer and then a blank layer and then the bottom layer, because on the corners there were these flat shelves that pull straight out as like a little writing table. And then that same gap where the shelves lie in the middle of the table, there's empty slots so people can store character sheets in there. And then the top of the table is tiled with 1-inch tile, so it has pre-done 1-inch squares on it. So this is just made out of plywood sandwiched together with all mahogany trim. Like, I put mahogany trim on all the edges and stuff, so it looks like it would be made out of mahogany, but really it's just mostly plywood. But then the bottom of the table, the reason why I had all this mahogany is because the bottom's solid mahogany. It's a pedestal table, so it just has one big column, but it's like a square of mahogany this big, so it's like 4 pieces glued together, and then it has like a step base. So this table was super extra, super expensive too. Like, I spent probably a good $400 on mahogany to make this thing for a table that has sat in pieces in my closet ever since, and that was 4 years ago. So since clearly I have no use for this table, I'd rather we just piece it out and use the mahogany to make something else. So, I mean, I'm sad that so much love and effort went into a thing that I've never used, but simultaneously, I learned a lot doing it, so I really can't complain. And that's part of why I've been really into the idea of buying a house lately. We've been looking to get a new apartment for a little while. We even went and saw a couple of apartments just yesterday because the place we're living right now is kind of expensive, and so it'd be a lot more economical to find somewhere a little bit cheaper just to save that money, because eventually we definitely do want to buy a house together. Because, okay, renting definitely works for people that don't necessarily, like, I don't think everybody needs to buy a house. Like, for some people, it just makes more sense to rent. But the thing is, with the lifestyle that we lead, I want to be able to make physical changes to the house, and that's really not something you can do when you're renting. So I really need to own my own home so that I can, build a dungeon in the basement, so we can have a workshop, so we can have a rope room, so we can make it look the way we want to look, because they're both very aesthetic people. Matt knows what he likes, and I have an opinion, and usually we come up with something super cool. Like, you might have noticed the most recent addition up here, Matt just spent some time hanging up a bunch of pink and blue Christmas lights, which are awesome. I love them. And they're on, they have one of those kinds of outlets where there's a clicker to turn them on and off, so that's pretty cool too. And yeah, between, we got some more tables to decorate, got to paint the little shelf for our shoes. We bought another table that the woodlathe is on right now, and he wants to take the tabletop, get rid of the rest, and then build new legs for the top to make it his own workbench. Because right now it's just like a dining table that we bought for $40 at Goodwill, so we want to kind of make it into a work table just because it had a nice top. And that's where I'm at for right now. So I'm sorry to disappear you guys for a couple of weeks, but getting back into my regular schedule post-vacation. KinkyCon is this weekend, so I will be away, but hopefully I will come back with some fun stories for you guys. I'll try to snap some pictures of anything I can take pictures of. Usually the conventions, you really can't take pictures of anything unless you're doing like a rope class. Then they'll allow you to take a picture of just you, like against a wall, to like, remember the rope and stuff. So as long as you're following the rules, you end up going home with some pictures of yourself. But anything I can get, I'll show you guys of just me. So I'm gonna try to do both of these pajama alterations tonight. Wish me luck, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!